A person who has been living under the rock for the past 100 years comes out and tries to learn about the Indian society through its popular films. What does he discover? Man is the center of the universe, more so if you're Raj or Rahul. Man's duty is to save a woman from her troubles. Woman's duty is to stay a step behind the man because walking side by side is not possible in India's narrow roads. Only a woman could be his object of desire, no matter how attracted he was to John or how palpable he found the tension between Pathan and Jim. No, man seeks only a woman, and she's supposed to be easy on your eyes, made for your entertainment. LGBTQ and disabled people only exist in the periphery. They are either spawns of evil or an object of ridicule. People from poor and oppressed backgrounds have dark skin and dirty appearance and usually had a different accent. Hinduism is the best religion, and at the bottom was Islam, and only patriotism saved them from being a terrorist. With this newfound knowledge, he knew what he had to do. He said, Jai Shri Ram, and he set out to find himself a woman who would take care of him while he conquered the world.
And with that story, we're back to look into representation on screen. I'm Meera Mohan,
I'm Reshmi Mohan.
and we welcome you to the real impact. Love it, hate it, from east or west, but you can ignore it. The real impact, the real impact, the real impact.
Tell me about two movies that have been so far from reality that you were amazed by it.
So this, I don't know if it's gonna be contrary to popular opinion, or maybe it isn't. But one of the movies that I would think is a little far away from reality is probably one of the iconic movies, Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. I think this movie set a trend of showcasing the stories of NRIs, and they became more pronounced. And after this, a lot of movies were focused on the upper middle class and the rich families, right? And they became the subject of interest in Bollywood movies, at least. And I feel like it is a way, or it was not showcasing the reality of the common man of India, and in terms of how this may have impacted, I think these films kind of created a hyper reality of India, which wasn't really the true picture of what India was all about, or what the core of India was all about. And in terms of the ordinary people, they may be using these movies to escape from reality in those hours when they are in those dark cinema halls, or these movies became like an aspiration for them to work towards achieving them by hook or by crook.
Yeah, and I also think the expectations that were set for the standards of love were kind of
Absolutely.
very it's not an achievable standard for someone to like travel all the way from the UK to Punjab in India just to like follow a girl
Who did not even confess that she had feelings for
because
him.
of just like a one sign that she may have left for him.
Which was just a bell, or the cow bell, right? How can you just travel across the seas to just with just that one single sign? I mean, that just set unrealistic standards for an ideal man. The second movie that I again feel, so just to bring something in context of how the society has been trying to set a positive narrative. So in 2017, obviously the Indian government passed the Mental Health Care Act, which guaranteed that every Indian has the right to mental health care, right, which is either provided or funded by the government. Now all of us, even leading female movie stars like Deepika Padukone, Anushka Sharma, have come forefront to talk about mental health so that it can bring about a change in the society. There has been a major incident during the COVID phase with Sushant Singh Rajput's death, and there was a lot of focus on discussions about mental health. And there have been movies which, in subtle or very
Are you
pronounced
going to
ways.
talk about Atrangire? I also picked that movie. The mental health aspect and that was so ridiculous,
Yeah,
and it's
that's
fresh in my mind. Also, we watched it like 2 years ago, right,
yes,
during the pandemic.
yeah.
And the way they portrayed how popping a pill solved everything for her for a short duration of time, and then she went back into that loop.
And like, there are directors who are trying to make mental health an everyday conversation and take away that stigma away from it. There are and it may have been done subtly in movies like A Death in the Gunj. There's Chichore, there's Dear Zindagi, there's Tare Zameen Par, and there's so many other movies. Even like Malayalam movies, very very early in the days, had a movie like Manichitra Tare, which focused on mental health and showcased it in a more positive way. And then there's this movie Atrangire, which was making fun of mental health in a when the core of the movie was mental health, that she has
They ridiculed her condition.
absolutely, and it did not propagate any positive conversation about mental health, right? Only thing that would have probably had an impact was all the discussions of how it was negatively portrayed, which may have brought the discussion back into the society. But I think that was one movie way far from reality and did not have any positive impact to provide to the society as such.
Yeah. So Atrangire is also on my list as well. But
Wait,
another
minds think alike.
another movie that I thought of, which you may not agree with, a large section of the audience will not agree with me. But I thought even Rocketry, the Nambi effect, was not true to reality, and I feel that there was so much misrepresentation of facts based on just one man's accounts of things, and he's talked about people who have already passed away, so they can't talk for themselves now. And there was a Caravan article on Nambi sir where they've discussed all the things. They've disputed his claims and stuff like that by accounts from other people who have worked in ISRO and have been part of the project and all of that. So I feel that when you are when you are making a movie on inspired by real events, and it's kind of like not even inspired by real events, you're showcasing it as a movie about the man's life, and you're saying that you're telling his story, then you should also like balance it out with some negatives that may not be coming from his mouth but what other people have been saying. You should not rely on him as the only source for your movie, and especially when you have the reach with Shah Rukh and Surya and all getting involved in it, Madhavan being the central character of it. All the people will watch it and then believe whatever is there. And yeah, so, and it is about this upper caste Hindu man who was treated unfairly. He may have been, but then you should also put in some effort into researching the facts of the matter.
Okay, but how can we be so sure that the real doesn't match reality?
That's a difficult task for us mere mortals. Both the then Congress led and now BJP led governments have refused to conduct a caste census since the last one in 2011. It is for national unity, as people tend to fight among themselves when they discover similarities with other people. The governments have also refused to release data on OBCs. But if reality is to be believed, the collective of OBCs and SC/STs will definitely outnumber the dominant caste that has an unfair representation on Reel too. Take this example given in an article on The Wire. Anand L. Rise Zero has Shah Rukh playing the role of a dwarf named Baua. Baua is a Brahmin living in Meerut, clearly established by the brandishing of the Janeu.
Now, just because Anand L. Rai chooses to have all his characters be from Brahminical backgrounds doesn't mean that is his preference.
Certainly not. It's a mere coincidence. Meerut has 17% Dalit population, and the oppressed caste would easily outnumber the Brahmins there. But what can we do if Baua was born into a Brahmin family, right? But there are perks of having Brahmins on the screen, because sometimes they do save the oppressed caste people from the atrocities, like Ayushman Khurrana's character does in Article 15. And like the movie's tagline says, let's be Indians firstly and lastly, because at the end of the day, national unity is more important than these petty issues.
Moreover, caste is an issue limited to rural India, which hasn't kept pace with the developing India.
Exactly, but who will say that to the Dalits fighting caste discrimination even in the US?
Okay, enough of that. Now, Bollywood and Hindi film consumer has been magnanimous enough to let the three Khans dominate the screens. Isn't that proof enough of the diversity and inclusivity of Hindi film industry?
Of course, and credit where it's due, Bhai did play Sultan in the movie of the same name, where the usual responsibility of being a good Muslim was not seen.
Well, the good Muslim and the good queer characters are only so that audience can accept these characters. You can't expect a divisive character to be flawed too.
Yes, because like filmmaker Sham Bengal said, Kerala is able to show Muslim characters in a credible way because Kerala hasn't suffered the trauma of partition. Maybe that's why they are able to produce films like Thuramugham, based on the true incident of the Matanjeri firing, showing intersectionality of caste, religion, and class at the same time with flawed characters at the center of it. So let's go into a quiz where we look at some dialogues related to different sections of the society and try to guess who said it or which movie is it from. So should I go first?
Sure.
Okay, so this is a dialogue where a male police officer is talking to a female police officer. The female police officer is a senior, okay, and he's saying that, Madam, pardon me for not saluting you. And then he pulls her up by her belt towards him and then says, I will make it up to you and I'll make sure that you will walk wrong for a week.
Oh my god.
You'll be amazed by who delivered this dialogue.
I don't think it's Jawan. A senior police officer as a female. I have no idea.
It's Mammootty in the movie Kasaba, I think. And this was the movie that Parvati brought up in a panel discussion, where how such an influential actor is speaking about things that are so misogynistic and so derogatory, and then that's why whoever was involved in that panel discussion got the tag of femininity attached to them by all these people who are against the feminist movement.
Okay, interesting. Should I go next?
Yeah.
इसके जेंडर का टेंडर नहीं हुआ.
What does that even
This
mean?
was to represent someone who was probably homosexual.
Oh,
But they said इसके जेंडर का टेंडर नहीं हुआ.
is it Dostana?
It's Houseful 4, where they wanted to describe a homosexual man, but this is, this is how homosexuality had been represented there, that, your...
Things people get away with in the name of comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll give you another one. So, hey Hakka Noodles, you've come in from abroad and you want to see naked, hungry people? Don't you want to see Taj Mahal? And this person is talking to a Asian looking man.
Oh, that's why Hakka
Southeast Asian looking man, yeah.
Don't you want to see Taj Mahal?
And in the previous dialogue, he calls him chili chicken.
Southeast Asian man. I have no idea.
It's Munna Bhai MBBS circuit.
Oh my
When
god.
Munna wants a dead body,
Right.
and then he picks up this tourist who's just looking at the Dhobi Ghat.
बलात्कार से याद आया, मेरी बीवी कहाँ है?
बलात्कार से याद आया मेरी बीवी का है. Wow. I feel like Akshay Kumar may have said this line.
What is a movie? This is all about the movie.
I don't know.
It's Grand Masti. And again, at the pretext of doing comedy, they have showcased women in such a pathetic light.
Yeah. And that too, when we talked about how even now marital rape is not considered a crime.
Criminal offense, yeah.
Movies are having dialogues like these where you are encouraging marital
So
rape.
similar to this, there's another one, which is या तो रेप के इल्जाम में 7 साल सजा काट ले या उसके साथ 7 फेरे ले ले.
Very nice.
So this one is from मैं खिलाड़ी तू अनाड़ी.
Akshay Kumar, no? Very nice. Okay, so this is about the quota system. So we have come here by sheer hard work and not due to some quota system.
Okay, this was the third dialogue in my list also. It's 83, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and this is such a, you don't need this dialogue in that movie, first of all.
Yeah.
And the whole quota system is such a controversial topic, and everyone is trying to, discredit it all the time. So when you have an influential platform, you should be careful with the way you are saying something, especially when an actor playing the role of Shrikant, who is a celebrated cricketer, is saying something like this. Then you will think, oh, even he thinks like that.
And so the dialogue that I had written was, we aren't in the semi-finals due to quota. That's such a derogatory remark against the oppressed caste community. And more importantly, I think, without reservations, how long did it take you to have another World Cup, right? So don't just discredit a community altogether, and don't showcase that in movies where you have such strong voices.
Yeah, exactly.
But all is not lost. We have creators who've been doing great work in terms of representation. Be it Manichitra Tara's sensitive representation of a woman living with split personality disorder back in 1993, when mental health was not even a topic of discussion. We also have movies like My Name is Khan, Tanmatra, Pa, Win Mingle, and Tare Zameen Par that have brought awareness to different disabilities and generated empathy for people living with them.
What are the movies that have actually changed your perspective on something?
So obviously we've spoken a lot about Kadar, the core, in the last movie, and it has definitely changed my perspective and had a very positive impact to my mind. But since we've already spoken a lot about it, I'm going to talk about 2 or 3 other movies that again had a positive impact, or at least brought awareness to me, and I'm hoping that to the society as well. So one would be Udta Punjab. Obviously, after that movie came, and maybe in the recent times, I'm more aware of the situation in Punjab, and how drug abuse is a very, very massive problem there. I've heard a lot of podcasts about it, and I've read more about it. But during that time, I think my awareness level was also low, and I think this movie kind of opened me up to that situation and problem in Punjab. And I think the film gets a lot of things right? So it kind of showcases how there's a drug problem of drugs crossing the India-Pakistan border and coming into our society, how it is ruining the lives of men, how now even women are involved in the whole thing, and how even the police turns a blind eye towards it. So all of these things have been covered there, and kind of opened up the fact that even rock stars there, who are revered by the audiences and people, are under the influence of drugs, and the songs there are also showcasing that reality, right? There's a lot of focus on drugs and how it is bringing a high to the youth, and the gun violence and everything, right? So and I think it is also because of the situation of that state when it was released. They didn't want to show it there was an upcoming election in Punjab, right? And I think it also had an impact that because they didn't want to showcase that negative reality of the state, even the Shiromani Akali Dal, which was a BJP with the BJP alliance, they kind of tried to influence the censor board to have a lot of cuts in the movie or not release the movie, but eventually it was released. But if you look at the reality of the picture, I think there was a Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports report which said that 40% of the Punjabi youth in the age of 15 to 25 years have fallen prey to drugs, right? So while they were trying to mask the reality, it actually kind of surfaces the problem more evidently that this is a situation. And I think Urta Punjab kind of brought that impact to me, and hopefully it brought awareness to a lot of people to this problem of drug abuse in Punjab.
Yeah.
So that would be one movie.
That would be on my list as well.
Another movie that I do want to mention is The Great Indian Kitchen, which I think, while it is probably not the sacrosanct reality of my household, really, but I have seen so many people around me and so many households around me who have the same reality, and it was a very simplistic depiction of what happens in the household where women are restricted inside the kitchen, where the males are hovering in over their WhatsApp and just browsing through their mobile phones. The females are supposed to bring in delicious food items, but behind the scenes they are working in the kitchen with sweaty arms and with such dirty stuff being thrown at them, right? And how in terms of the purity, definition of the purity, the females are, I mean, the whole situation about menstruation was portrayed in the way that it is a reality for many households, right? So I think that also kind of brought an uncomfortable
I think what the movie did was the things we know and treat as part of our lives, which then becomes invisible to us.
Yeah.
That it's so common that it's invisible to us.
Yeah.
The movie just put that
Amplified
in
it.
front of
Yeah.
us, and in such gory repetition of it, that
Yeah.
the same thing happening again and again and again, that it hit us so strongly
Yeah.
with so much force that then you're hit with the reality that women
this is
have
how,
to go through this
and even the
every day.
men are uncomfortable because they know they have been doing that and nobody has really questioned it, and it's
Yeah.
the same thing that's being showcased on the screen, just that like you said, because it's repeated again and again and again, it kind of makes them uncomfortable, because they are doing the same thing, right? So
Yeah.
I think that would be another one which I think would have had an impact. How about your?
For me, I think all of these movies apply but I think I definitely want to mention Manichitra Tara. And another movie, this is one of like such a sweet and precious movie that I'd seen when I was in my undergrad years, called Kaka Muttai, about these two young boys who are from the slums of Chennai. And then it's just, I think the best part about the movie is how they portray these children in such a relatable manner, that when they speak their concerns, like when they pester their mother to get a television in the house, and then the government scheme results in them getting it for free, and then they watch an ad on the TV which is a pizza commercial. Now they want the pizza, and then when they go to get the pizza, the watchman shoos them away. Then they go in nice clothes and try to get the pizza, but then the watchman recognizes them again and slaps the older boy, and then that becomes a viral video, and then they are invited as an apology and stuff like that. So it's never, these boys are not shown in, like, usually when you show people from a lower income group, you show their depravity and how, oh no, they are suffering so much, and that's the focal point. But here is just their sweet innocence and how, what their priorities are in life and what their aspirations are, and you kind of, the distance that income can bring between you and them is removed because of how relatable these characters are. And you may have had such kinds of priorities in your childhood as well. So I think it's a really sweet portrayal of young children and what they want in life. So let's go to a quiz again about the impact of these movies.
So obviously you know the movie Chalte India, which is a movie on hockey. What do you think is the percentage increase in the sale of hockey sticks that was generated right after this movie?
200%.
Not such a massive impact, but having an increase in itself is an impact, right? So do you want to give a more realistic number?
50%.
No, it's 25%.
Okay. Okay, not a bad impact. Okay, I'll give you one. The location where this film was shot was visited by nearly 20,000 tourists within 3 weeks of its release. And then, after the movie's release, 3 family reconciliations were reported in Mumbai, including that of a man who married a Muslim woman and was waiting for his family to accept their marriage for 12 years, and that happened after them watching this movie.
It's obviously
So the family reconciliations are either interfaith or intercaste.
yeah, there
relations.
must have been an intercaste marriage in the movie, or interfaith marriage. Is it Bombay? No, right? It's not. Is it Veer Zara? No. I don't know.
It's Sairat, which was
that was
remade.
also in my mind actually. But I thought I was not sure about the tourism part associated.
Okay. So my last question. So a parent activist said that after this movie's release, parents who visited her office increased by 10 folds, and the parents started taking a more proactive approach towards an issue that was highlighted in the movie.
I think it's something related to workplace where a female must have. Parents visited the workplace of her.
No, the parents visited her office. So she is an activist for a cause.
Okay.
It's dyslexia, and the movie star is Ameeper.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the kind of impact that movies have made, and yeah. So I think we just hope that there is more accurate representation of the different kinds of people that exist in our society, and then awareness is created for the issues that concern them, and yeah, hope we all progress towards a better society. But let's look into one section more in detail, that is women, in our next episode. Until then,
हम
है राही प्यार के, फिर मिलेंगे चलते चलते.
Me, ho ya औरत, Hindu, other Muslim, not all are equal on screen. Seen only those with power. Ram ho ya ho Rahim ho Laila ya ho Majnu, it's clear. है सबकी अपनी कहानी. Stay true to what is real. Stay true to what's real. In caste, sex or creed, 'cause purpose of the real is to educate and entertain and educate and entertain. Stay true to what's real. And caste, sex or creed, 'cause purpose of the real is to educate and entertain, educate and entertain.